Welcome to the A to Z Christian Life Radio Podcast, supporting the kingdom, promoting the kingdom, and having fun while doing it. And now, let's welcome your hosts, Nick and ShaLonda Allen.
God is good. Welcome to On the Couch with Nick and ShaLonda. People of God, what's going on?
What's going on, y'all? What is going on? When I tell you it's been a crazy week.
Look at stuff.
Nick messing up, y'all. He messing the little studio up. Can't have nothing.
What is going on, everybody? What is going on? Yo, I see y'all in the chat already. What do we got? 53 people on already?
Share, like, tag, say what's up.
Share, like, and tag. That is right. That is right. Share, like, and tag, man. Yo, it's been okay, so we was not on the air last week.
No.
But let me tell you, a brother had some surgery last week.
Yes.
And I have staples. If I do my shirt like that, you'd be able to see staples.
Oh, Lord.
I got staples from my belly button all the way down to my ankle. I don't know what kind of man that. Give a brother a warning. Let me know when you gonna do me like this. You know?
He's all right. You know what?
I am all right.
We just thank God for his amazing grace and for God for guiding the hands of those doctors. You know?
Yes, definitely.
You know,
definitely.
We're just grateful. Yeah, he in pain and he's even here tonight though. I'm happy he's sitting up and he's here with us. But hey, it's better than what it could have been. It's better than what the enemy wanted. And I tell you, I rebuke being a widow in this.
Oh Lord Jesus, I rebuke that too. Jesus.
I don't know about y'all, but the prayers I be praying. Hey, the prayers I be praying, listen, we don't got time for that stuff. We rebuke that stuff, sickness, disease, premature death, none of it, all that. He was covered from the moment he went up in there. But he in pain, no, but he be all right.
I'm in pain, but I'm good. I'm laying around stinking, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm just laying around. I can't, barely go anywhere, so I'm laying around the house stinking, Splash some water on me,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thank you. I appreciate everybody who prayed. I appreciate everybody who sent messages, well wishes, and all that kind of stuff. Man, I really, really do sincerely appreciate it.
We have an amazing community, y'all.
We do.
And I think even our guests tonight can even agree what a blessing it is when you're married and when you have a union to have a strong community. Yeah. We have a strong community. And man, we absolutely love you guys, and it's we can't say thank you enough. Yeah.
We had people who blessed us, brought food over, and did some of everything. So we really, really 1,000% do appreciate it. Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
Our guest today.
Yeah, let's get to it, y'all. I'm excited about our guest tonight. And if you have any questions pertaining to anything that we're talking about tonight, please put them in the chat. Yeah, I'm trying to do my best. I'm always looking at the side so that I can make sure that I'm engaging with you guys. Sometimes the conversation be getting so good, y'all, and I forget to. Yeah. I'm sorry. Don't take it personally.
I really think that this is going to be one of those shows where there are going to be a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like, normally we'll have on an artist, and they'll present a song or something like that. Mm-hmm. And we'll discuss, the career. But this is kind of different because this is something that I think everybody, well, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people in their lives are dealing with is, you've been married once and you got divorced. And now, you're looking at the prospect of possibly being remarried.
Wow.
And man, look, after you've been through one divorce, and I can say it because I have been through one divorce. And after that one divorce, man, look, hey, our guest is Shon Hyneman, and the name of his platform is Scary to Remarry. And boy, oh boy, it can be scary to remarry.
Yes, really yes, and we're so excited to introduce you all tonight. A little bit about Mr. Hyneman.
Let me give you a little information on Mr. Hyneman. Shon is a husband, father of 4, and a certified life coach. Shon specializes in pre-engagement coaching. He is the founder of It's Scary to Remarry, where he helps those who have been divorced find love again. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Come on, y'all.
So let's welcome our guest. Let's welcome him to On the Couch with Nick and ShaLonda. Let's welcome Mr. Shon Hyneman.
We do a little coffee house. Ain't no jazz in the background. We're gonna do.
We ain't got no jazz. We got no jazz. We got jazz fingers though.
Stupid.
Shon, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on today. I'm excited. Recording number 3 today. I've been recording all day, so
excellent.
Best for last.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you got something to talk about, so I can see you be busy.
Very busy.
Yeah, so we're honored that you joined us today. So tell us a little bit about your journey and what brought you to start, a platform called It's Scary to Remarry. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I was married for 15 years, which is funny because I lived in Arizona for almost 15 years before going through a divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, relocated from Cleveland. I'm born and raised Cleveland, Ohio, but went through a divorce. And during that process, I think a lot of people don't talk about the grieving, what goes through that process of wondering, like, what am I doing? Am I actually going through this divorce? What's it going to look like on the other side? Am I going to be able to recover, myself? Like, am I going to even find myself again?
Right.
Do I even want to get out here and try to date again? I mean, when I married, it was like 2000. So going through that divorce, it was like Facebook was kind of new. But going through a divorce, and then you see all these dating apps and Twitter and Instagram, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on out here,
The Black Planet, Black people meet.
Hey, wait, how do you know about all this now?
So just going through a divorce, and I always tell people on my platform that I'm very transparent about the things that I've done wrong. I was like, a lot of stonewalling. I was emotionally immature. I married when I was 24. That's not an excuse to say like, oh, I was young and dumb, but just a lot of defensiveness, insecurity, didn't know how to communicate. There was no infidelity or anything, but those things, when they're done over years on top of years, and you can't have that healthy communication, it can cause the demise of a marriage. So that's the part I played, and I got back out here, decided to date again. Really didn't date too much. I mean, I met my wife on Instagram, and we married 6 months after meeting, because I lived in Arizona and she lived in Texas. And I slid in her DM on Instagram, and we started talking on Skype every day, and we would like read books together over Skype. And next thing you know, 3 months later, I proposed. 3 months after that, and we married.
Now with you guys, because you said you were in Arizona and she was in Texas, correct?
Yes.
So was it technically like a long distance relationship?
Yes.
How did you guys handle it being a long distance relationship? As far as like were you flying out there because me and ShaLonda, we actually have a similar story, where we dated for like 6 months. I was in Ohio and she was out here in Arizona, and so 6 months. And I tell everybody, and this is real truth. I met ShaLonda in person about 3 times before we got married. I really did.
Right.
And so, how did you guys handle that? Was that similar? Was that a similar story? And did it? Do you think that it helped as far as you guys becoming closer without, I guess, the intimacy being involved?
Yeah. I think it helped us tremendously. First of all, you said you were in Ohio?
Yeah.
What part?
Toledo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard you say Cleveland. Yeah, I got a sister in Cleveland. Yeah, but I was in Toledo.
Oh wow, a small world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but a lot of it, the long distance. I prefer it to be long distance. There's a lot of things that you can't do. Like, you really have to trust this person.
Sure.
Because all your word is all you have.
Mm-hmm.
So we would talk every day over Skype. We would make sure our schedules will align. You know, I'm gonna call you at 3. I'm gonna call you at this time, and we always made time for each other. And then we would fly out maybe once a month sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
it just varied on the price tickets pretty much. Like,
Right.
you know,
That's
they
getting
had a good
expensive.
sale. I was out there.
Right. Well, I noticed that you had said, one of the biggest issues with your first marriage was communication, and I think with long distance relationships, people really don't understand that sometimes that your communication really is all you have to really rely on when you have a long distance relationship. I mean, even considering the fact with us, and Nick is an introvert, I am an extreme extrovert. So I would talk and I ask him a question and I answer it for him. Because,
Literally,
talking, I got something to
literally, she
say.
would ask me a question and keep talking, and then answer her own question without me even saying a word.
Right. But I opened him up to communicate more, though. Right.
Yeah.
He had to step out of that zone that he's in order to meet me where I was.
Mhm.
So, I mean, do you think that really helped you deal with your communication issues that you had previously?
Yes, for sure. Yes, because I knew it was an issue. It's just that I grew up in the era where we couldn't express our feelings.
Mhm.
So it's one thing when you know
Right.
about communication being a problem. It's another issue. It's different when you don't know.
Right.
You know, because like looking back, I really didn't know how to communicate and express
Wow.
my feelings. So now that I'm older, I was like, oh, okay, I see where I went wrong. And even I remember talking to my ex-wife, I would ask her, I said, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong in all of this? You know, she had her scroll.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She had her scroll, but
On July 3rd, you.
yeah, but it helped tremendously, like you said, with the long distance because that's all we had was communication.
Right. So, I mean, that's true. And you all out there who are dating, and let's say that you're in your city, that's really good advice. I mean, stop looking local. There might be someone somewhere else, that's for you. So what kind of work did you do throughout this time on yourself? I mean, because you realized communication was an issue. Did you seek therapy to kind of help you deal with some things, or like what was your process for, healing before you got into a new relationship?
Yeah, I got into therapy like once I relocated here, but I did a lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
I love reading. And then I spent a lot of time by myself. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really once we separated, I didn't just go out and just go crazy or anything like that. I just worked and focused on taking care of my daughter and just did a lot of reading and just working on myself. So that alone time gave me some good time to reflect.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I started therapy once I relocated here. I've been in therapy like ever since 2018. So
Mhm.
Wow.
So like with divorce, and what I'm curious about is because earlier, I think you had said something about, like divorce feeling like death, where, in a way, because it can be. I mean, if you've been with somebody for, shoot, 13, 14 years, you've been together, and all of a sudden, you're not with that person anymore. It can be like half of you is gone.
Yeah. It's
You
like
know what I'm
grieving.
saying? So what are the main hurdles that you have to get over, before proceeding on to actually, dating somebody new or something like that? What are the main challenges that are essential to moving on?
I think the main one is being honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think if you can be honest with yourself and be accountable for your actions, I think you actually heal faster when you own up to the part that you played.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I was healed when I no longer blamed Mike's wife or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Wow.
I wanted her to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I knew I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay. Like I wanted the best for her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
um,
Wow. Good.
so
That's healed.
I owned up to my issues, and I think that helped. I think that's the number one thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
So no more of the blame game or anything like that, huh?
No more blame game. You got to be accountable for your actions, because as long as you can blame people, especially when you go out on a date with someone, and somebody asks you, what was the meaning, what was the demise of your last relationship? What happened then? And they're like, yeah, she was this and she was that, or he was this. Like, that's a red flag.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always what they say, is it 2 or 3 sides to every story. We start going on
That
dates.
is true.
We start
That
figuring
is
out. I
true.
think it's me. I think I'm the problem here.
Yeah. That is true. That is something that you do go through, because I think I did like basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I tried. It's all her. And she did this, she did that. Not really reflecting back on. There are times when I did some jacked up stuff too.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But when you just like coming fresh out of it, man, you're not real with yourself
That's true.
at all. You are not real with yourself.
That's true.
Hmm.
And I did like a little research, and I looked up some statistics, and I know it says 10 to 15% of separated couples eventually reconcile. At what point did you realize that there wasn't any chance of reconciliation with you and your previous spouse?
That's a great question. Our marriage, and during study and looking at divorce and stuff like that, or even reconciliation, I realized a lot of times people check out of the marriage before they even divorce.
Yeah, it's true.
So, honestly, for us, it had to be. I know I checked out at least the last 5 years. We were married for 15. After year 10, I wasn't there. And my ex-wife, she asked me too. She was like, "You don't love me like you used to," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
yeah, sure, yeah. So, and a lot of, I think I was more scared of judgment from other Christians, and
Absolutely.
not going, like, I couldn't find myself to take the time to be like, I want a divorce. And one day I just actually did it. So after year 10, I was like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, but then you know what? I also think about this. I mean, considering I've never been divorced, but you
It
know,
ain't never gonna be the you ain't never.
hey man, this is my thing. I mean, especially being a believer, right? Because you always hear God hates divorce, and the church likes to use stuff like that against comes to marriage, which is horrible, because you don't really understand the hell that people are in and their relationships. I mean, it could even be a situation where there really wasn't, like you said, you didn't even have infidelity in your marriage. It was strictly communication. It was a lack of communication, and that was enough. To be honest, does anyone really have to cheat on you? I mean, you don't necessarily have to be in an abusive relationship for that thing to actually just die. So it's like, how did you encourage yourself throughout that process? I mean, I'm sure, because when it comes to divorce, some people believe it leaves an ugly stain, but I think that thing can be the most freeing thing that you can possibly do sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that going through a divorce, it set me free. I mean, it helped me to find out who I am as a person.
Right.
So I was just so used to trying to make sure that, my wife is good and kids, but for a minute I was like, this single thing is, might not be too bad.
Yeah.
Because, I love me. I love my own company.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a loner for the most part, but I could be extroverted when it's time to. I mean, I really have to speak and coach, but I think the most part is just like, what was the question? Am I answering your question the right way?
No, you are answering the question right. Some of the things that you had, that you went throughout that process, with divorce.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was a shot of reality. I remember the first night when we separated, and I was in my own apartment, and I was just like, this is really happening. Like, I got a whole empty apartment when I'm used to, wife and kids. And I was like, okay, Shon, now this is the time for you to really deal with yourself.
That's good.
And this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do believe a lot of times you really find out how healed you are once you start dating or just getting acclimated to being around people again. And I think that's when you really find out, like, am I really healed, or are there triggers that somebody says something, I'm triggered again?
Right.
Because as long as you're by yourself, you like, I'm a great Christian. But if you get around other people, you'll find out if you really healed or not.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. So, I mean, okay, so it's scary to remarry. So I'm excited about the journey that you finding your bride, and and hearing about how scary it was to remarry. What was going through your head when you were like, okay, I want to make her my wife?
It was scary for, like, she's 12 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So
my man. You 12 years younger than me too. My man.
That's funny.
To remarry 12 years younger?
Yeah, right? Yeah, people thought I was having a midlife crisis. They like, really? Yeah. Oh, you met this girl on Instagram and now you're gonna fly out to meet this girl that's 12 years younger than you? Like, really? Are you?
I started to say my ninja.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there was.
So you're gonna marry an influencer? Oh, we see what you're doing now.
Yeah, there was a lot of trepidation. It was because I was asking myself, do I really have what it takes to do this again? I think that was the biggest question. And then actually getting to know me after a divorce, like, okay, Shon, here's the new you.
Right.
Let's see what this new you looks like out here to dating. And then on top of that, learning to be transparent, like knowing that I struggle with communication, and then going into a marriage and I'm like, this is my coming out party now. I'm going to start saying how I feel. So there's a lot of fear in that.
So walking on your journey to you're in the process of dating or whatnot. What was your process? Did you start with dating apps? Was it just getting out and mingling with people, or how did that work?
I went to a couple of like entrepreneur business events, and I met some people there and stuff like that, and they were all cool, but it wasn't like anybody that was just like, oh, that's gonna be Miss Hyneman. It wasn't that. It was just getting back out there, just like, okay, let me try this again. But dating apps, I really didn't do dating apps because at the time I was like, all I heard of was like Tinder.
Right.
I heard a lot of horror stories with that, so I was like, I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. So like I said, my wife and I, we were already on Instagram, like we knew of each other. And one day I just seen her on Instagram and I was scrolling and I was like, I like this picture. I like that picture. I like that. And I started liking a whole bunch of her pictures. She started liking a bunch of my pictures. And that's how it started.
Oh, yes.
Now, do you suggest, of course, you said you didn't, do any dating apps or anything like that, but in your experience as a life coach, have you heard of personal experiences with, and I'm not talking about like Tinder or anything like that. I'm talking about like, regular dating apps, being able to meet people. What are the experiences that you've heard, regarding that?
Well, with the dating apps, like I've heard nothing but horror stories.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they'll say, this person was one thing on their profile, and then you meet them, and he's not that tall, or he's too short.
They put up a picture from 25 years ago.
Yeah, she's not that small as she, this is a school picture kind of thing. So people get frustrated because they like, you came out the gate lying. So I really didn't do a lot of, I was really focused on just working on me. I mean, it was cool to meet people and, connect with other people. But for the most part, I was just chilling. And like I say, when I was seeing my wife, I was like, okay, the buck stop here. Like let me try to really focus on her.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so you weren't, Yeah, I agree. I don't know. We have a couple of friends that are, going through the journey of, getting back out and dating after, post divorce, and yeah, we're hearing the same about, dating apps, and a lot of it is, especially when you're a believer, a lot of
Mhm.
people are there just to really hook up,
Yeah.
and that's not even what you're about, and even though you may express that's not what you're about, I mean, the other person on the other
They don't
end,
care.
they don't care.
Yep.
They don't care. They on a whole separate mission.
Absolutely. And I've heard some horror stories. I know our cousin was telling us he's in Charlottesville. A friend of his is on dating apps and she has a type. And yeah, and unfortunately this man, and like he said, she did a simple Google search. Maybe a simple Google search and doing her research on the guy, she would still be here today. So there's so much responsibility that goes into that.
Yeah.
There's so much, you have to be so careful nowadays on these apps, and especially as women, inviting, men, strangers out, to see you. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Hey, so, I want to hear from some people in the chat.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be some questions. There's got to be some questions from our people who are listening online with us in the chat.
Yeah.
If you have questions, we're getting ready to go to commercial. I want to see what the questions are. I want to know what what are, if you're single and, you may, or maybe if you've been, remarried, let us know what your experiences are. Let us know what your questions are.
Yeah.
And
And
we'll
if you're
get to you.
dating.
Yeah, we'll get to you after this commercial. So, all right,
on the couch.
on the
You're right.
couch. Nick and ShaLonda, we'll be back.
Have you ever wanted to host your own inspirational radio show? Have you been called to inspire and spread God's word? Please contact Alicia Rain for more info.
Listen if you will, it's T, yeah, and I'm chillin' with my boy Big E, and we're here for all to see what's going on, what's going on. Listen if you will,
yeah. You're tuned in to the Listen If You Will radio show. Yeah. Are you the next great independent artist? But you're looking for a distribution opportunity? Well, sign with us at Praise.fm Music Distribution. Yes, the 2021 Stellar Award nominated Praise.fm can handle it all. We understand the narrow road leading to getting your music heard at the right time at the right place can be tough. So send your music and video files to fmpraise@gmail.com. That's fmprayz@gmail.com. Praise.fm Music Distribution, affiliated with Sony Music and the Orchard Distributors.
Hi, I'm Alma. Hi, and I'm Raquel. And we are the Fisher Girls. So we're excited to announce that our song, our love song to God, Let You Go, will be released April 7th. That's this Friday, guys. Come on, support. You don't want to miss out.
The campaign has come around and it's pounding at my door.
Are you interested in continuing your education, certificate, or degree that will prepare you in the ministry and equip you in the marketplace? Come make Christ Central University your home. Visit us at www.myccu.online.
On the couch with Nick and ShaLonda. Welcome back. We are on the air with Mr. Shon Hyneman, and he is he has his a platform called Scary to Remarry, and we were just talking to him in the break about like, you know, if y'all go to church, two people going to church,
Yeah.
how do you map that out? You know, let's say, you know, maybe one might be Catholic, and you know,
Oh,
the
Lord.
other, hey, it happens though.
But
I
let
mean,
me
it
stop.
happens.
Go on. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
Maybe one might be, you know,
I guess.
maybe, you know, worshiping the fat guy with the belly, Buddha.
Well,
you know, I don't know. But how does that work though? How do you decide? Even if y'all just going to two separate churches, you know, how what's the method between deciding where you're gonna go to church and how you're gonna worship?
see.
What did I say?
No, go ahead. We're gonna let you know.
What did I
Sean
say?
answer. Because you know, I know you didn't ask me, but I would just say this, and I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
If I'm talking to you and we're just having conversation, and you tell me that you are Jehovah's Witness, or you are, but basically, if you don't believe in the same thing that I believe in, this ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
For some people, that's not a deal breaker. For some people, you know, they just gonna make it work the best way that they can. You don't think so? Is that always? What do you think, Sean?
We're gonna ask you,
Let's
Sean.
get the expert's opinion. Is that always a deal breaker? Is religion always a deal breaker when it comes down to remarrying?
It can be. It just depends on if you're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's because a lot of times people, they were like, yeah, I'm Muslim, or yeah, I'm Catholic, but a lot of times people are not really practicing. Like people are like, I'm Christian, but they, you know, everybody
You don't go to
Christian,
church.
right?
Ain't saved.
Yeah,
You ain't saved.
right. So it just depends on if you're practicing. If you're devoted to, you know, spirituality or whatever, you know, what you believe, then I think that's where the rubber meets the road, because
Yes.
if you're practicing one thing and they're practicing something else, that can cause tension. But statistically, I don't know the numbers exactly, but chances are you will divorce if you're both like practicing and you're trying to make it work, like you said, trying to make it work the best way you know how to. And a lot of times it just clashes, and the success rate is low.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. So. You know, not to say that I was right, but you know, I'd be kind of like hitting it on the nail. Might be not all, but I'd be hitting it though on the nail. I'm messing with you.
Let's go to the chat. Did we
Okay,
get any
okay.
questions from
Let's
the
see.
chat?
Oh, what's up, Jamarcus? Hey, family. What's
Marcus,
up, y'all?
man?
Dr. Gunn. All right, Pastor Shantae King, you on? Tamalisa, Cheryl. Hey, y'all. What's up? Y'all have any questions tonight? Please, you know, throw some questions out there in the chat.
Definitely.
You know, especially if you're dating, you know, what kind of advice would you give to a couple that was coming to you that are engaged? Because I know a lot of people like to skip that process, and I don't know if it's because they don't want the accountability or they don't want to be like called out, you know, but I know some people don't think that it's really important to do it. So what do you think? What kind of advice do you like to give these couples?
I'm always for, well, I do pre-engagement coaching. So to me, I'm like,
Oh, wow.
talk to me before you even get the ring. Like,
That's good.
because a lot of times people, when they buy the ring, their mind's made up,
Yeah.
you know. So my biggest advice would be, have you dealt with your childhood traumas? Are you aware of your triggers?
That's good.
I think those are the biggest ones. And then I also tell people too, like, what's your favorite childhood memory? And a lot of times you'll be surprised how many people don't have any good childhood memories. And that alone tells you, like, they're going to need some work. Because if you can't give me a time where you was like, I was good, you know, if I can give you these memories, but if I can't give you any, there's a lot of baggage that has to be unpacked. So to me, that's a big question. I think a lot of people skip, and you will know ahead of time if you ask that question.
Wow.
That's deep.
Well, and even like, you know, like generational trauma, right? Like, asking them about their family. Is that something that even when dating, you think those are good questions to ask someone that when you meet them?
Of course, yeah. Family of origin is very important because, and I tell people, you can't extend grace to your spouse or your significant other if you don't know their backstory.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know their backstory, you'll never give them grace. But when you understand, like, oh, okay, well, maybe they were abused as a child, or maybe mom left, or maybe dad left, like these different things, if you understand it, then when they are triggered, you like, and that doesn't negate how you feel, but
Right.
the person that's emotionally available, they like, okay, I'm going to give them some grace, because they have empathy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think empathy is huge too. I think that should be a top 5 trait that every single person should look for. If you lack empathy, I don't know if the relationship is going to work.
Yeah.
Wow. So, back to It's Scary to Remarry. So, what are some of the things you had to deal with? Because I know a lot of people who go through divorce, and I know a few divorcees who are determined 100% to not get married again. Like I'm not put myself through that no more. I'm done. Like I'll be by myself for the rest of my life. Where is that? Like what is that coming from? How do they get past that?
How do they get past it? It really has to be a renewing of the mind and your heart. Because some people, and I do believe that if you feel like you don't want to get married again, like don't do it. Don't feel the societal pressure to do it. Enjoy your life. Because there's pros and cons to being single and married. But I think if their heart, if they're never really willing to recover from that hurt and renewing your mind, like the way you think. The way you think is everything. Like if I would talk about renewing our minds, right?
Right.
So if we're not willing to unlearn first, I think that's important. You got to unlearn and then learn.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to change, it's just like stay single, because a lot of times people take bitterness and resentment into relationships, and you can tell because and I heard a quote one time that said healed people hear different.
They do. I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if they can actually hear you and they have empathy, chances are that they probably want to do it again. Probably want to get married. But if they're one of those people, they like, the red pill community or blue pill, like all those people, and like if they're like that, it just stays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? That's good advice, even for someone who would be thinking about reconciling with someone they just divorced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you take somebody back who hasn't
exactly.
done any work? I mean, I'm not going to take that unhealed version of you back. We're going to be right back where we were.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what are we doing here? And I know you didn't do it in a week. You sure ain't did it in a month. So, so definitely. So if there was any, chance of reconciliation, those are some great steps, I believe, too.
Yeah. So how did it work with yourself? Because I know you said you do have kids. Did your wife when you guys remarried, did she also have children?
Yes, she had. Okay. At the time, he was like 3.
Mm-hmm. And you had how many children?
And I had a daughter. She was 14.
Mm-hmm. What was the strategy behind blending the two families, if you will? What was that strategy like? Were there any challenges in regards to that?
Great question, because I think we don't talk about this enough, right? Going into a blended family, remarried. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, with my wife, her son, he was 3, so it wasn't too much pressure. He was, he's 3. Now my daughter, on the other end, she was 14, and she's like teenager, like straight up teenager, and. You divorcing my mom and all this other stuff, like it was tough because at the time my ex-wife had my daughter's ear. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of things that I felt like I wasn't going to say to my daughter until she was older. Mm-hmm. And I would always tell her, I said, when you get older, we can have the conversation, because I didn't want to give her a skewed view of her mom.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's good.
So once my daughter, because she's 20 now, so now we have the conversations. Now we good now, because she's like, Oh, okay. So now she understands. So the blending of the families was really, it wasn't as tough because my daughter, when she moved out here, she wanted to live with us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she stayed out here in Texas with us for 2 years before she graduated. And then she moved back to Arizona with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she got to spend 2 years with us, and she was like, "Oh, my dad isn't really that bad of a person. Everybody's saying he's a horrible person. Oh, he's not. Like, it was all lies." You know what I'm saying? So it all worked out, but there was some challenges, and like I said, the biggest challenge was who was saying what about the parents. Like, if mom and dad was saying things, that's the biggest thing, because the parent is so hurt, they're willing to put the child, you know, in an adult type position,
Right.
where they should just be able to learn on their level. So,
And it's almost like you're sacrificing like the child's like heart, you know, toward their parent, because you have hurt, you want that child to feel your hurt too. You know, this is what it feel like. This would, this what your daddy did. Your daddy did this, And it's almost like it's one of the most cruelest things you can do to a kid in a divorce is to, talk negative about the parent.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And I like that you waited, because at 14, I mean, we're really real understanding what she had. She's only going to remember the negative things, It's like.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for him to turn to Godzilla, at midnight, like my mom says. He turns into Godzilla in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And great points, because I think it's best that you leave the kids out. I think you can talk to them like at their level. But when it comes to the bitterness and resentment and your daddy this and that, like that's not healthy, because it just skews their view of the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
All men isn't this, or all women is not that. It's like, no, because when your child, they will get older, they will grow up, and they will find out for themselves. So a lot of times you don't have to throw your ex under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Now with your daughter and your now stepson, where was it kind of like, did you have to groom that relationship? In other words, like, were there moments where, you had to let, your daughter and your new wife or your potential wife go off and just to get to know each other? Were there, kind of play dates for you and your stepson? Was it kind of, and do you suggest that, at the beginning of the relationship?
Yeah, but don't force it. I think everything has to be organic, and it depends on the child's age. I think that's, because even with my wife, she would take my daughter out to, get their nails done and stuff like that, just doing little girly stuff. So, trying to butter up my daughter a little bit, make her feel welcome.
Right.
And that's when she started to open up to my wife about how she felt about the divorce and stuff like that. So
that's good.
That helped out a lot. And again, with me and my stepson, with him, like I said, he was young, but
3.
he's 8. He's like 8 now. But me and him, like we're like two peas in a pod. Like that's my guy. And I just have a lot of influence in his life because I've been there since 3. So good. And then we have 2 kids together.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Praise God. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
We have 2 together. So it's like we have 4 total. So
yes.
See that's beautiful, man. When like, because like she had a daughter. Her daughter was 8 years old. She's now 20. Yeah. And so I just really enjoy the fact that, I really have like a daughter who, 12 years ago, I'd never foreseen myself having, another child or anything like that, and then boom, I get this 8-year-old kid who, came to my life, and, I've been able to see, blossom into a young lady, and, we've been able to, just really, foster a great relationship. To the point to where We was in Ohio, and we were in that restaurant. And the guy walked in and said, "Man, your daughter look just like you." And we just kind of looking, you know, we were just laughing about that, man. You know, like.
Well,
Yeah.
I always tell people when you have a blended family, you keep feeding them and buying them shoes and stuff like that. They'll look like you.
Exactly.
I mean, right? I take care. I feed them. They better look like me. But yeah, that even for us was a pleasant surprise. You know, getting remarried. I mean, for him to get remarried, for us when we got married, it was more like I don't know what made us think we couldn't have any kids. I don't know if. I'll be honest with you. No one told us medically we couldn't have.
My boys
children.
was old. I mean, they got there. They got there, but they was in walkers and wheelchairs, and we coming, you know.
It was by faith that, you know. So yeah. So and when we ended up, because we thought, man, you know, because Nick, you know, has 2 children, and you know, and I came in with mine, and with my one, and I was like, well, after Zendaya, you know, man, we good. Like, we could be like those people who don't have kids no more. We could like take our money and we could do like big stuff, like travel and have vacations. And he was like, yeah, because I mean, look, you said you can't get pregnant. I said, no, I really can't. I don't think I can. And I think I'm, you know, I think you too. And then I got pregnant, and then he was like, they gonna think I'm this baby's granddaddy. I was like, no, they're not.
Oh Lord,
I get it.
I feel like a granddaddy most of the time.
All over again, you know. And but I think it's a blessing. I think the revelation you have for it? You were like, there was one point in your life that you never thought that this would be, like, you thought the family you had.
I thought that would be it. Yeah, I thought that would be it. And then, you know, even still now, I look at Emma, our daughter,
our youngest,
Emma.
Yeah.
I look at her and I just think, okay, I was 42 when she was born, and so it's like she has no idea of like the whole life that I lived. You know, before she knows me, Daddy, right now, standing here in the living room. That's what she know. Right. You know, she has no idea about you know all the great things in my life that I did. So,
or just prior to there's a whole life lived that you never even thought.
A whole life. Yeah.
So yeah.
I get it.
Wow.
I'm with you. We had 2 of them together.
Wow.
Quick story. When my wife, when she first got pregnant, she like wrote me this nice little letter, and you know, she's like, oh, you know, you're going to be a dad. Like, she like just had everything set up nice and neat and everything pretty, and you're going to be a dad again. I was like, oh shoot, okay, oh, I'll be a dad again. And a year later, she popped up pregnant again, and I was working night shift and I was asleep, and she comes in the room and she has the little stick that pregnancy test. She throws it at me. I'm pregnant again. I'm thinking, what happened to the nice gesture that happened a year ago? She's like, pregnant again. I was like, oh man. So after that, I was like, yeah, we're done. We gonna have somebody gotta do something. So she was
somebody
like,
getting cut
you
out.
gonna do something.
You and me, which one's gonna be?
Yeah, so she was like, it's gonna be you, because I said, oh, okay, well, one of the best decisions I made, but no more kids for me. Like, having kids in your 40s, I get it. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And that was what it was for us. You know, as soon as I had Emma, he was like, we're going to go and lock this thing on down now. We can't we can't keep having this. Because when I told him I was pregnant, he fell. He was trying to lean back on the bed, and he fell on the floor.
I did.
And it was like, are you sure? I got the digital just so we wouldn't be confused.
Yo. That's when I found out that fainting is not just something that happens in the movies, man.
It happens in real life.
Oh yeah, that's great acting. He fainted. That's great acting. Until you actually faint. You're like, wow, I'm really passed out. Straight up passed out, man.
Children are a blessing from the Lord, I tell you.
Took me out.
A blessing from the Lord. So this is the time of the show where we, like to take just a couple of minutes here. Just if there's anything on your heart that you want to share to encourage the listeners tonight, and then finish by letting them know who you are. I mean, how to contact you, where to find you.
Yeah, I always tell people that if you've been through a divorce, because that's my demographic, if you've been through a divorce and you want to love again, like, that's okay. It's okay to love again. I think it's just important to work on yourself. I was talking about the therapy piece and stuff like that. So always be willing to learn. Always be willing to be a student, no matter how old you are. And you'll be surprised the things that you learn from unlearning and being willing to learn. So that would be my best piece of advice, and to make sure that you have that personal relationship with the Lord. I always tell people when I met my wife, the thing I loved about her was she loved God more than she loved me. So I always thought that was important, that you had that personal relationship with the Lord. You can find my website at scarytoremarry.com. You can find me on all social media platforms, Scary to Remarry. You'll find all my content there. I had a podcast, a YouTube channel. You could just search Scary to Remarry on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts. You'll find it there. So Scary to Remarry. You'll find me across everywhere on the internet.
Awesome.
Hey, I had a question before we go. I know we're late, but how do the challenges become different when the two people are up in age? Let's say 65, 70, 70 years old, you got some Social Security coming in, something like that. How do the challenges become different? And have you had to counsel anybody, around that age?
With the age gap?
No, not an age gap, but two people who are up in age.
Oh, up in
65, age. 70. Are there different challenges?
I haven't had any. My demographic is 35 to 44. That's the demographic that I have most. So anything past 45, I haven't gotten any. Not any clients, any questions, any of that. It's strictly 35 to 44.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I like when you said that. If you don't want to get remarried, don't get remarried. Like, there are benefits to just, enjoying life and being single. And I mean, it comes with this challenges, just like a marriage comes with this challenges too. But I like that you said that. I like that you said that we have to stop this, narrative that, you don't have a fulfilled life if you're not married. And yeah.
Yeah, I even think the Apostle Paul was for singleness.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Paul was like, hey, let
I was
it
like,
remain
get like
single
me.
as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul was like, I'm good. Y'all can have that. But I mean, if that's what you want, Yeah, absolutely.
Man. Thank you, Shon. Thank you for joining us, man. We really do appreciate your advice, your counsel, and your time, man.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And y'all make sure that you get to the site for Scary to Remarry. Y'all, this man of God has these shirts that I absolutely love. So, some of you couples, me and Nick are going to get ours as soon as he re-ups on them. And we're going to take a picture cheesing. Talking about it's Scary to Remarry. And what does it say at the bottom?
Love fearlessly.
Love fearlessly. So
awesome.
So make sure you check his website out, you guys, and support what he's doing, and get y'all some of them shirts and take some pictures and stuff.
For sure. We'd love to see it.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And you all, thank you so much. Share this show tonight with some friends of yours who are single, divorced, or whatever the situation may be, and encourage someone. So we thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
On the couch, Nick and ShaLonda. We out. We out.
We out.
You are tuned in to that praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7